Welcome to Practical Talk Time. I'm your host Usha Kumar. I have here with me a very dear friend, Helga Duethorn, who is from Germany, and she's here to tell us a lot of nice, interesting facts about Germany. Hello, Helga.
Hello, Usha.
Nice to have you here, and I'm so happy that I can have you explain to my viewers all of the interesting facts about Germany and also about traveling in Germany. We often get our information from internets and from travel guides, but then it's nothing like getting all the real information from an actual German.
Well, I think I don't want to overemphasize, but it is good to inform yourself on the topics through the internet and through guidebooks. Those people need to make a living too.
Yeah.
We have to have that. But I think when you travel, it is sometimes nice to have a little bit of insider knowledge.
Yes.
To get a flavor of the country from a person who has lived there or has had an experience there. And of course I have lived there till I got married and came to the States. And I go back every year to Germany, keep up with friends. And I visit many parts that were not known to me.
In Germany? You mean?
In Germany. All of the former East Germany was corridored off, and as a child I could not visit. So it was after the reunification.
That was what, just about 20 years ago?
In 86.
86. That's when East Germany joined
Was
West Germany.
reunited, yes.
And what is it called now? It's a
Federal Republic of Germany.
I see.
And we have a chancellor. It is Mrs. Merkel.
Isn't that lovely? That's
Who,
Angela.
Angela Merkel.
Merkel.
She has been in power since 2005. She was re-elected. It was a coalition now with a different party. It was the Socialist Party beforehand, and this time it's the Liberals who are the coalition partner with the Power Party.
So the Chancellor is in fact the head of the executive
Yes.
branch of
The
Germany.
President of Germany only represents and is sort of watching that we have a good image, that we adhere to the laws, but has really no deciding power, the President.
It's nice to know that there is a woman being the Chancellor, because Germany itself, I think women didn't have the right to vote and everything until this century, right?
No. I would say the Germans have been on the forefront with social development. Bismarck, who initiated a lot of the laws, really we had the right for the woman to take time off to bear children and so on. However, World War II changed a lot. Women became widowed. They had to fight and make a living and survive with sometimes children. And the German woman nowadays is totally equal to the men.
Germany also, I think, have enjoyed a high status as a very highly industrialized nation. And then I believe, in the last 30 years or so, they kind of moved away from the heavy industrialization and became more service-oriented, right, in the population?
Well, service-oriented to some extent, but Germany is still has a real good base of tool making and is known for quality work. So a lot of machinery that is built elsewhere in the world, very often they go to smaller companies in Germany who are the tool and die makers. And some of the areas of medicine, Siemens is one of the companies that is known throughout the world. So there are some real niches that Germany still fills and at the moment is doing very well.
So are they still heavy on engineering studies and everything?
Yes, however, we are also having problems with the educational system. Almost anything that happens in the US happens elsewhere. We are truly a global landscape nowadays. The influx of immigrants, we have the same, not to the scale as Americans have. We don't have the history of immigrants, but Germany has 1.7 million Turks living amongst its population. And in some areas, it is not an easy relationship.
I see. In Germany, you have at least 95% of the population speaking German, right?
Yes.
Something around that.
Or they call it German, because we have many different dialects.
You have it, yes. So basically, how many regions are there with different dialects?
Well, we have 16 different states, but I think we have more dialects really than states. Sometimes they can really vary from a very small region to another.
I see.
The area where I come from, I think, is very corrupt and not a very nice dialect. The best German is spoken in Hanover. That's the center north.
Okay.
But for instance, if you go to Hamburg, they also speak a fairly clear German. They pronounce the R maybe a little bit more open, sort of like the Bostonian. Park your car, they say "wa."
Oh, I see. In German, how do you say "I love you"? Is it different in all the different areas in the regions?
No. That you can universally say, and many soldiers learned to say it when they were stationed in Germany.
That's all they needed to know.
Ich liebe dich.
How was that again?
Ich liebe dich.
I see. Ich liebe
dich.
Liebe.
Ich is I.
Ich is, yeah.
Liebe is
Liebe.
love. Dich.
Dich, okay.
Ich liebe dich so wie du bist am Morgen und am Abend. And Germany is also very well known for its songs. The classical music. There are songs, folk songs, there's classical music, and we have many towns that have music festivals. We have so many composers. There's always a birthday, or you have festivals for the opera of Wagner in Bayreuth, and that is an excellent time to visit and plan a visit around that.
There's an opera for Pied Piper, right? What is it called in German?
In German, this is the town is Hameln, and but one of the operas that I think most Americans do know and children know is Hansel and Gretel.
Oh, yes.
The Grimm fairy tales are very well known.
I know, when I was in school, in my elementary school, we used to do the play of Hansel and Gretel.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very, very widely known.
And the New York Metropolitan Opera just recently had a new production of it last year, I believe, or the year before. Okay. But you can also see plays. Of course, there you would have to know the language. That's much more difficult. But for young people, I would also say, if you travel to Germany, go on the internet and find out. We Germans are big on heavy metal music.
I see.
They have some of the leading bands are German. And then there are a lot of jazz festivals. We have quite a few American performers who live in Germany year-round. It is a small country, and it has the culture of music year-round. We don't have long periods of nothing like here in the States, where the whole summer is off. You hardly have...
Yeah, you only have your opera season for a few
Correct.
months, and you have different seasons, and then they just last a few months at a time. Okay. Here you have them all throughout the year? Or
You have it
interspersed?
much longer, and then you have programs going on throughout the year.
I see. I think about the Brahms. I'd like to hear a little bit about that.
Well, as we are talking about music, one of the local venues will have upcoming in December a concert by the Danbury Music Center, and it is all Brahms songs. They're all sung in German.
I see.
So
That's
you don't have
wonderful.
to travel very far. You just go down the road and listen to
Yeah, and go to
German
the
music.
Congregation Church in Danbury.
Yes.
Do you know what date it is?
I'm not sure,
don't
but
know,
it will
okay.
be announced. It will be on television here.
In Germany, I think when I studied about Germany a long time ago, we thought it was a very heavy coal producing place, and they had all the rich iron ores, and that's how they started with all the machinery productions and everything. But now I hear that the Ruhr Valley area that used to be so industrialized, it's now become a big cultural center. Can you
Yes,
tell me
well,
about that?
that is the change of times. Some of that heavy industry has moved to your country, India.
I see.
We import steel from China and from India, and our steel plants are shut.
Yeah, India is my hometown, but I'm American.
But you have throughout Europe changes, and today's population is shifting as we have migrant workers, we have different industry. Every country has to make adjustments, whether it's France, Britain, Germany, even in your former country, we are always going through change. But the beauty of Europe is that the old still is existent
Nice.
and is treasured and is there to visit. And that is what always amazes Americans when they do go to Europe. We have in I'm sidetracked here.
No, go ahead. We wanted to show our audience some pictures of Germany and the fun celebrations you have there.
Well, when you do go to some of the festivals with the music, you will have outdoor activities, and they come in their local costumes, and they play sometimes old instruments. This one happens to be more of a marching type, but if you go to the romantic road, they will have even children choirs and some of the old instruments, and they have concerts.
And what is this?
And then the festivities very often enjoy also a nice carriage of a beer wagon, sort of the German Budweiser.
Oh, I see. I see. I know beer is big in Germany, right?
And so you can have modern music, you can have folk music, and if you do go into some of the castles or churches, they very often have free concert, especially some of the old cathedrals, you know, they're 800 years old, and the music in there just sounds so good. Even if it is a young, modern piece of trumpet. It just is so radiant.
So when someone travels from here, they should keep in mind that Germany is just not the war picture that they have, but it has a rich culture,
Usha,
and it has good music.
In all fairness, people don't see it that way.
Yeah.
That is a long time ago.
Yeah.
People who do go to Germany really go for the cultural things, the beauty of the country.
Exactly.
We have a variety of landscape. We have the Baltic Sea, the North Sea. You have the center of the country with not such high mountains. In some parts, it looks actually very much like Connecticut.
And you have all the different climates?
And very different climate from north to south. And then along the south, there's a Lake Constance. We even have Mediterranean climate.
Oh, I see.
And it is also one of the oldest places. It has an old village. It's preserved from the Bronze Age. So it is BC time.
Oh. German. I love German china. You know,
Well, German china is
they make
very
such fine china.
Throughout Germany, there are several places where they still make it. One is in Franconia, and one can visit these places. Another one is in the west, in the Saarland, Villeroy-Boch.
Yeah.
And there are many more. I don't want to mention any
Yeah.
names. I'm not a commercial.
Yeah, that's true. In Germany, you know, how have things changed since they've been part of European Union?
Well, the European Union started a long time ago, and it was a very slow process, and it is still a slow process. And most Europeans go, woof, because the rules and regulations that the European Union sometimes puts upon people is aggravating.
Yeah.
It is mini-management in some areas. Last summer when I was there, the talk was about the cucumber. The cucumber should be straight, it shouldn't be crooked. And so they had a norm developed for the cucumber. But now that norm is done over with. A cucumber can be again crooked.
Okay. Thank goodness for that. So do you have something like an FDA or anything for the European Union?
Yes, and but Europe really has to work hard to keep its individual differences. It is so nice to go to an area and get a typical beer or a typical sausage or a typical cheese and not homogenize so it tastes like cardboard. You go to France and you get a different cheese than in Germany. You go to Nuremberg and you get a bratwurst that is different than when you go to Cologne. If you go to Switzerland, you have the best chocolate. Our chocolate is good in Germany, but the Swiss really do it well. The pastries in Austria, they're so delicious. And those regional differences we want to keep. That makes Europe such a fun place.
You don't want it too homogenized.
Exactly. We would like to meet each other, get along with each other, eliminate the confrontations that were so costly to Europe.
Yeah, those plagued you guys centuries ago, I guess. As far as the money, is it easier now that you can use the euro, or do you still use the German marks?
There is no German mark around.
Nothing. Okay.
The euro throughout Europe.
Okay.
Sometimes during the crisis with Greece and the Spaniards and so on, some people wished, well, maybe we should have held on to the mark. But we did a survey and all the young people say no, the euro.
Euro is now.
Yes.
It's come to stay.
I hope so.
Yeah. Is that more convenient now that you're traveling back and forth?
Not only the convenience, I think that you can also measure the wealth from one country to another better.
Wow.
You know, what things cost, what life means for a Dutch person or for a German person. And one thing I would like to point out at this point, otherwise we may forget, when you travel in Europe and you buy things in Europe, you have a value-added tax,
Yeah, VAT. Yeah.
which is very high. That tax, if you buy something of a substantial amount, like a fur coat or an expensive German camera, keep the receipt, and before you leave the country, go to the airport, to the customs office, and get it stamped, and you get the taxes refunded.
Oh, I see. What is that for?
So basically,
To-
if you go to
Yeah.
Europe, and if you go to Germany, for instance, and you buy something of
Yeah.
substantial value, you can buy it tax-free.
I see.
You get reimbursed for that value-added tax.
Oh, that's wonderful to know.
That is something not many travelers do know. Now, it is not on services, and taxes, of
Okay.
course, are necessary everywhere.
As far as the political scene, is that very much like in the US or is it different?
Well, I think it is quite different. Number one, it's a much smaller country. We are much more, here in America, you have almost the whole continent to yourself. You have a constitution that dates back so many years. The German constitution was basically rewritten after World War II.
I see.
And it's a republic, a federal republic. The states have also their own powers and their own rights. They have their own constitutions. So they are a force in themselves, and they are represented in Berlin.
So it's also a democratic process?
It's a democratic process. We have the elections, and we have the local elections. That is very much like here.
So if we can go back and talk a little bit about traveling in Germany, I think that would be very interesting for most Americans to know how to
Okay.
do that in style and to really get to know Germany.
Well, as I would say, see maybe what interests you most. If you like to hike, maybe the mountains would be a nice place. Hiking is great. German people do love to walk, and you have trails every place. If you are a bike rider, we have bike paths all throughout Germany. You can go from town to town. You can bring them on the railroad. You can bring them onto the streetcar, into the bus. You can bicycle everywhere. And you can rent bikes. Some people prefer to bring their own. You have a train system throughout Germany where you can travel very reliably, very fast trains, and the distances to cover are not difficult. Travel light when you do go by train. Most people pack too much. A windbreaker, so you have something on a stormy day with maybe a light umbrella. Jeans go everywhere today.
You can dress like you dress here, casually.
Yes. Men in the summer wear shorts, and some men wear very short shorts.
I see.
And you know, the girls like
Not like
here.
the long American ones.
No,
No.
and not the lederhosen. They're not much used anymore either. The women wear also casual, and it's really almost an American uniform, the jeans nowadays and sneakers.
I see. So with jeans and sneakers, you can travel anywhere around the world, I think, except the equatorial region.
I would not go to the Festspielhaus in Bayreuth. If you go to an opera,
What
I
is
would,
that?
To
It's
an
an
opera
opera?
house, you would want to
Formal wear?
not formal, but at least have a skirt or something,
Dress.
a nice blouse and a skirt.
I see. And the men, what do they wear?
They're casual slacks and a white shirt, or
Some kind
sometimes
of a
they
dress
all
shirt.
go all black. Germans can be very fashion conscious in the cities. It is actually fun to watch people go to Berlin, take a museum visit, and watch all the others.
Yeah. If someone wants to catch all your festival time, when should they travel?
They are throughout the year.
Throughout the year?
Germany is a festival site.
Yeah.
They have a celebration for something, for wine, for beer, for the farmers' markets. The cities in town usually have a marketplace, and that's the center of town. It's usually a pedestrian area. You leave your car outside, you stroll through the city, you window shop, you look at the decorations in the windows. And don't hesitate to go in and ask, what is this? It may be a piece of bread, but it may be a piece of cheese.
Oh,
It looks so inviting.
I'm thinking about your beach, and I cannot get my mind off of your beach scene. Can you show?
Well, this is
Show
along
our
the Baltic
viewers
Sea.
something.
That is in the fall, and they
I don't
have.
know if you can see it, but that's the beach there. And this is not.
That's a marketplace.
That's a marketplace in Germany.
That is in a village of a good size, and you have the farmers market, and you can always find a stand where you can buy bratwurst or a hot dog or a local specialty.
See, and then in your beaches, I think you have little tent-like things that your people can rent, right? The
Well,
picture is
these are-
missing here, but
This is the picture.
Yeah.
See, these you can
Yeah.
rent. They're little baskets,
I see. Oh,
and you can rent them.
we are out of time now, but that was wonderful.
Well,
I learned so much about
I hope
Germany
we can
today.
go together.
Yes, and I hope you'll come back again to give us a little more information about Germany sometime.
Well, we can try something else too.
Well, for those of you watching at home, thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.